Morning, everybody. Happy Sunday. How are you guys? Okay, so I came up with this good idea to go live last night at probably 11 o'clock at night. And, whenever I do that, I think to myself, Erin, perhaps you should wait till tomorrow, see how you're feeling. And this is one of those days. So I got very little sleep last night. I hope you guys are going to bear with me. So when you guys hop on, say hello. Today we're going to be talking about makeup application tips, specifically about coverage. And I'll tell you why. So say hello. Hey, sweetie from Germany. Good to see you guys. So the reason why I decided to do this is last night I was doing a color match for one of my new clients. And she was asking me, is the makeup, so if you're new here, hi, I'm Erin. And the makeup that I'm talking about is SEINT 3D cream makeup, the makeup that you guys see me wear all the time. Anyways, I was doing a color match and I was talking back and forth with her, and she was asking me what type of coverage does the makeup have. She felt that she needed, in her words, thick foundation, and she wanted full coverage. So I'll put it in perspective. She's 54 years old, years young, I should say. She's 54 years young. And we were talking about what her needs were and how we can customize it. So I thought to myself, I bet you this is a common question. What type of coverage am I going to get? Because the reality is, for many of us, we have very specific needs, right? Whether we want light coverage, medium coverage, or full coverage. And what I really, really love about this makeup is that you can get any type of coverage, regardless of what you want, which I love because there are days like Sunday. So if I was not on here with you today, I would be doing a very light application coverage of my makeup today. But perhaps I'm filming tomorrow, or I'm going to an event tomorrow, or you are, and you want fuller coverage. So simply by changing up your brushes while keeping all your makeup all the same in one palette, you can achieve both. So I wanted to walk through with you guys some tips and tricks on how to achieve light coverage, medium coverage, and more full coverage. So, hey from Arizona, hey from Poland, hey from Montana, say hello. I'd love to hear where you're watching from. And I'd love to hear from you. What type of coverage do you like? Do you like light, medium, full coverage? Maybe it's a mix of both. Hey from Alabama, from Italy and Argentina and Denmark and the UK, Long Island, from Finland. Hey, Sharon from Canada. All right, ladies, let's get started. Hey from Texas. Hey from Romania. That's very cool. All right. So let me talk to you really quickly about the basics. But what I want you to do is drop in, if you're interested in any of the brushes that I'm talking about today, drop the comment BR, like the letters BR, and then the number 85, BR85. Drop that in the comments. And what I'm going to do is I will send you a link to all the brushes I'm going to show you today. I will also send you, because I am going to talk a little bit about the color correctors that I use. So I'll send you a little bit of information on that. And then I will also send you my form for the free custom color match. So I'm not putting you on a subscription list, none of those things. I'm just sharing some of these things that I put together for you before jumping on the live today, okay? Hey from Nebraska, going to be taking a 2-week trip with just carry-on luggage. Excited to try this. So Cheryl Schultz, one of the amazing things about our SEINT makeup is that it's TSA approved. So when I travel, I actually throw this in my purse. I don't put this in if I have checked luggage, I don't put it in there, and I don't need to. So I'll typically bring, depending on where I'm going, I'll typically bring 1, 2, maybe 3 brushes, because I kind of like all the things. But you can throw this palette. It is so fabulous to travel with. Okay, so let's get started. Hey from Calgary, good to see you. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do one side of my face. I'm going to do my left side of my face with a really light, I kind of call it like Sunday makeup. If I'm wearing any, it's Sunday makeup. Or maybe that light application is totally your jam 100% of the time. And then the right side of my face, I'm not going to do medium coverage. I'm going to do light and full coverage. But I will share with you, if you like sort of medium to light coverage, if you fall kind of in between, the two brushes that I swear by is the detail brush and the blush and bronzer brush. These two brushes are my absolute favorite brushes for medium to light coverage, okay? I knew this was gonna happen. I have something going on with my throat. All right, let's start with light application. And I'm gonna show you these two brushes today. This one is a black one only because it's an artist edition, but the silver one right now is 25% off. This is called the shape brush. So when you comment BR85 in the comments, I'll send you the link to all of this, including this sale brush, 25% off. It will come to you in silver. This is a very light application brush. All of our brushes are double-ended. I'm gonna do all of this side of my face with a light application with this one shape brush, all right? And then the full application brush would be the buff brush. So let's talk about why you get different coverages with these two brushes. The first thing to know is that the density of a brush is going to affect the coverage that you get, as well as the application. How you put it on will also affect the coverage. So by choosing a brush with shorter, denser, packed bristles is going to give you a more full coverage in comparison to a brush like this that is looser. Here, even further still, do you see this is the big end of the blush and bronzer brush? This is great for bronzer, illuminator, giving yourself a really light dusting of, some bronzer, some blush, some illuminator. So a fluffy, longer bristle is going to give you lighter coverage, while a denser, shorter bristle is going to give you fuller coverage, okay? So let's start there. I am going to do, like I said, I'm gonna do this side of my face, a light application, this side of my face, a fuller application to show you. I call this my Sunday face, all right? So if you ladies are new to wearing SEINT, this is my palette, my personal palette. I have these three shades up here. These are called highlights. It's a bit confusing in SEINT land. Think of this as your main foundation and your concealer, and then your contour, all right? So I'm gonna start and dip in with that shape brush, the big end, and you'll notice I'm not dragging, I'm just tapping it. So can you see the small amount that's actually on that brush? So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to focus only on the areas really where I have the most discoloration, because I'm doing just a super light application. So my Sunday face is typically this, right? And it's gonna look funny because I'm gonna have half my face done one way and half the other. So for those that jump on halfway through, you may think I'm looking a little nuts, but I'm just taking that main shade and lightly dusting it just where I have a little bit of discoloration. So do you see, you guys know that I have, well, you may not know, I have a pretty significant sunspot there. I can do one of two things on a really light application day. I can dip my finger into my main highlight and I'm just gonna tap it on. The one that I'm using today is Hazel. When I get darker in the spring and in the summer, I switch over to Mango. So it's nice that I don't have to have a whole bunch of different bottles depending on, my skin tone and how it changes from season to season. I just have, one tin. So oftentimes I will have a few main highlights in my palette so that I can adjust. So do you see the difference? I have not covered everything up, right? But I have smoothed out the illusion of my skin tone with that very light application of just my main highlight. Now, I am going to go into, I will go into my contour. You can do your contour with your bronzer if you wish, especially on these light application days, and use this same brush, but I'm using my contour. Today I'm gonna use Olive. And although it's a light application day, I just want a little bit of dimension. So I'm just deepening the shadow just a little bit along the top of my forehead, underneath my cheekbone, but I'm not really bringing it far down. I'm just adding it a little bit at the base of my cheekbone and the top of my ear. Okay, so I'm just tapping that on, and then I'm going to run it along my jawline. Okay, so, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my accent highlight and I'm just going to tap it into the corner. I want, this is my Sunday look, right? I'm going to the groceries, I'm hanging out at the house, I'm going for brunch with my family, you know, I'm chilling out, watching TV. I wish I was doing that today. I'm not. You can take a little bit of your bronzer if you wish and give yourself, I don't know about you, but at this time of the year, I start to get a little bit pale and pasty. I guess it depends on where you live. I'm just adding a little bit of warmth with that bronzer. Okay. And then I'm just going to pick a pretty lip and cheek color. So again, I have used just this one end, in fact, of the shape brush. Actually, one thing that I want to show you is you can take your bronzer, and if you just want to create a little bit of a shadow, you don't really want to do eyeshadow today because you're hanging around the house or you're doing groceries or you're going for brunch. But look at how easy it is just to create a pretty natural shadow. And then I'm going to go into, this is Desert Sunset. Ladies, online, this looks like it's red. It's not. It's a beautiful neutral pink shade. It is a gloss shade, so it has a bit of sheen in it. I think so many of you shy away from it because how it looks online, but trust me when I tell you, Desert Sunset is an absolute must-have. It is so pretty. Okay, so I'm not going to do half my lip because that would be silly. But there is a very light application. Now, what I would do is I would take this is just a damp perfector sponge, and I'm just pushing that all over my face in case I put a little bit too much on in one particular spot. This is going to help with a great finish. So this is normally on a Sunday what I do, you know, light application day. But let's walk to the other side of my face and we're going to do a fuller application. So you're somebody that likes more coverage. Let's assume that. So the shape is my favorite, followed by the bronzer brush. So Rubella 30, yes, the shape and the bronzer brush, these two. I agree. This is my favorite light application brush, that shape brush. These two, the detail brush, blush and bronzer brush. These two are also favorites of mine. If I had only to pick two, if I personally could only pick two brushes, it would be these two. If I had the opportunity for a third, I would add the shape brush because it has so many amazing functionality pieces. Where do you buy the palette? So send Laura, if you put in the comments BR85, I'll send you my free custom color match. I would really recommend that you ladies take advantage if you haven't been color matched by me. When you look at these shades, for example, online, they look much darker online than they do in person, and even more still after they have been blended out on our skin. So take advantage of my experience in color matching. It's a free service that I provide. I do them all myself. I don't have a company or an assistant that helps me do all of these. I do them all myself, which I love doing. Okay. All right, let's talk about full coverage. And I'm going to use the buff brush. All right. What am I going to do first? I'm going to go and use the larger end. Okay. The bigger end of the two, and I'm going to tap into Hazel, my main highlight. And one of the things that you're going to notice that I'm doing differently is not only the brush that I'm using, but the application itself. So did you notice when I was using the shape brush, I was doing a lot of this, right? I was lightly, love my buff brush for full coverage. Yes, girl. So not only am I using a different brush, but I'm not swirling it as much as I am stippling and pushing that onto the skin. So, if you've been here since the beginning, I shared with you the reason why I hopped on today and thought about doing this live about coverage was because I was talking to a new client last night. And she thought, perhaps I need thicker foundation. Perhaps I need, more full coverage. And you can get this full coverage without wearing more. And that's the key, because as we age and mature, we start to get fine lines and wrinkles, and adding heavy product or heavy foundation to our skin, and a lot of it is going to do two things really. Number one, it's going to add texture to your skin, and texture is going to make us look older. And number two, it is absolutely going to, any makeup, when you put too much of it on and thick foundation, it's going to start settling into our fine lines. We want to avoid that, okay? So that's why I love a solution that allows me to use the same product, have the flexibility of getting light coverage or full coverage depending on my day-to-day needs simply by changing up my brush, right? And I can do it with a product that doesn't feel heavy on my skin and doesn't settle into my fine lines and wrinkles, right? All of that is a win-win to me. Taylor, yes, I'm going to save this on my page afterwards. So if you're just jumping on, hi, welcome, happy Sunday. We are talking about makeup coverage and how you can achieve light to full coverage all within the same palette simply by changing up your brushes. Okay, so this side, we did a light application with the shape brush. This side, I've applied my main shade, which I'm using Hazel today, with the buff brush, okay? So I'm gonna go into that same contour, and ladies, you'll notice I'm using the same end of the brush, okay? One of the questions that I get a lot is, does it not turn into a big muddy mess? Do you have to clean your brushes between shades? And the answer is no, and here's why. Like, look at how beautifully that contour, that buff brush just applied that contour along the top of my forehead. I'm going to go in and stipple it underneath. And the reason why is because there's actually very little product on the brushes. So, and you're not swiping it around, right? So I'm just pushing this contour into my skin. And if you've put a little bit too much on, keep blending and pushing it until you get the desired coverage and look that you're looking for, okay? So same thing like I did on the other side. And you'll notice I'm not using more product. I'm just using a different brush and a slightly different application method. All right. So I am going to go into the small end and go into my accent highlight, which is the lighter of my two highlights, just to add a little bit of lightness around my eyes. Now, do you see how little I have on that brush? I do not want to put a lot around my eyes because I get fine lines and wrinkles under my eyes, and the more product we put around our eyes, the more likely product is to settle. So I don't want to do that. So again, I'm doing all of my makeup with this one buff brush today, okay? And this is going to give me fuller coverage. Now, I'm not doing my eyes. The only thing I put on my eyes beforehand is I put a little bit of my accent highlight on the lids just to sort of smooth out the color of them. Now, when I'm going to do my blush or my bronzer, so there is my foundation application. Let me just do one thing. So I get a good amount of redness in the corner of my nose, so you can just take that and tap that out if you wish, okay? And I'm going to actually go to the fluffy end of the blush and the bronzer brush and swirl in between my Bella bronzer and my rose gold illuminator, these two right here. And I'm just going to swirl along the top of my forehead to add a little bit of warmth onto the top. Kind of see how it's like a C around my eye. That's what I'm just doing, where the sun would naturally sort of kiss us first. Okay, and blush, I'm going to use that same color. Actually, I'm going to use a deeper blush. So when you look at shades like this, Desert Sunset is a gloss, Boardwalk is a gloss, and this is Frenchie. No, this isn't. I don't have Frenchie with me. Hold on, ladies, one sec. Is that Frenchie? Yeah, it is. Sorry. Frenchie is a matte shade, okay? So it has a little bit more depth of color. I love Frenchie. It's a peachy pink shade. And this is a small end of the blush and the bronzer brush. And I'm just pushing that blush into my cheekbones and sort of marrying it with that of my contour. Okay. There we go. You know what? I used to always be afraid of blush. I have no idea why. But I mean, I can play around with this. I can add my eyeshadows. The one thing I didn't show you today was the Demi color correctors. These are really amazing for around our eyes, especially if you are aging. Because like I said, less around our eyes is always better. And what the color correctors allow us to do is to use less product around our eyes while filtering out that discoloration. So maybe you have red, maybe you have purple around your eyes, maybe you have blue or brown, maybe you have redness on your cheeks, maybe you have redness around your nose. Color correctors are an amazing product to help filter away that discoloration. And if you comment BR85 in the comments, one of the 3 things that I will send you is my Demi color quiz. So you quickly fill it out, indicate the areas that you're looking to address. We call them distractions. So think of distractions like under eye darkness, redness, rosacea, acne, hyperpigmentation. Those are all distractions that the color correctors can filter out. And you would absolutely want a small brush like this. This is the SEINT spot brush to apply these color correctors. But this is an amazing product for any look, whether you're doing a full coverage look or whether you're doing a light application look, because you end up using less. So I love it for around my eyes. I use it a lot around my nose and on my cheeks and on some of my hyperpigmentation spots as well. So anyways, if you comment BR85, I will send you the link to my Demi quiz. I will send you a link to get a full custom color match, free custom color match, and a link to all the brushes that I used today. Do you have them? For people with short hair that takes a long time? Oh, hey, Pauline, I think maybe you're talking about wigs. So I wasn't talking about wigs today. If you are on here, I am not, and you're new, I am not a wig retailer. My job is to help women. My job in part on here is to help women that are navigating hair loss and their hair journey. So I definitely have recommended retailers that you shop from. Wigs by Patty's Pearls. And if any of my wig sisters are on here right now, Raquel Welch wigs, the new collection, the wigs, the toppers, they are on sale for 30% off until the end of today. Make sure you use my code Raquel, RAQUEL, and the new collection is included in that. So, Pauline, what you could do, pardon me for coughing in your ear, guys. All right, let me see if there's any questions. Love those products. Hope for the UK delivery soon. So, Joanna, we are coming for you. All right. So right now, SEINT ships in Canada and the US only. But about a month ago, they announced global expansion to the UK, to Australia, and to Mexico. From what I'm gathering, we're going to see the UK and Australia definitely this year. Mexico, it sounds like it's going to be next year. But if you go to the bio on my bio on Instagram, I've created a broadcast channel for those of you that live in the UK, Australia, and Mexico, and that if you want to be notified as soon as those specific dates are announced, I'll be sending it to that group. Okay. Okay. So, Charity, you asked how much. So the other thing that I love, let me answer that directly. Each one of these tins is $16 US. Okay. The size of your palette and the amount of products that you have is completely up to you. So some women start with, I don't know if I have a full one here. 1 second. Hold on. Let me show you something. Sorry, guys. Hold on. Yeah, I don't have them all with me. Okay. So this is an 18 tin palette. Okay. Means it's got 2 layers on it. The reason why I love the ones with the 2 layers is I do like keeping my eyeshadows on a separate layer to my creams. Okay. So this is an 18 tin palette. Here's an example. What is this one? I think this one's 27. So it's a 3-decker. Okay. So you can get something as big as this, but you could also get something as small as a 4-tin palette like this. And what you could put in here is your main foundation shade, your accent highlight, a contour or a bronzer, and a lip and cheek color, and 1 brush, right? So it really depends. When women say to me, Erin, how much is it? Number 1, it's really affordable. But number 2, it totally depends on how you want to customize your palette, and I can help you with that. Each one of these tins pop out, and so the tin is magnetic, so is the palette holder, which means you don't have to go and buy and replace an entire palette. You just simply order the tin that you need. The next thing that I wanted to share with you while we're on it, so thank you for asking the question, is these tins are small. But here's an example of what it looks like, okay? This is $16. This will last you up to 4 months. I know it sounds crazy. I didn't believe it either. But when I show you that I'm tapping into a product, I'm literally doing this. Let me show you. So brand new brush, nothing is on it, okay? I'm tapping into it like this. Do you see how little is actually on that product? SEINT 3D Cream Foundation is approximately 2 times more heavily pigmented than traditional foundation. That's good because it allows us to be able to use less on our face, lighter feeling on our makeup, less settling into fine lines because you're not using a lot of product. And this is going to last you. Now, I would say between 2 and 4 months. It depends. Are you wearing it every single day? Are you wearing full coverage? Are you wearing lighter coverage like I did on this side? 2 to 4 months that this tin is going to last you. A lip and cheek color, if you've got 2 lip and cheek colors down here, they could last you 8, 9, 12 months. And then the eyeshadows, honestly, are heavily pigmented and they last a very long time. I would say a year at least. Okay. So I hope that answers your question. And the more you add into your cart, you get what they call palette credits. And when they're talking about the palette credit, they're talking about the palette holder itself. So most of my customers, when they place their first initial order, get their palette holder in essence for free. Okay. Let's see if there's any other questions. I think I got them. If I missed your question, feel free to send me a direct message and I'd be happy to answer it. So I hope you all have a good day. I have a busy day today. This afternoon, I am going live on one of my SEINT artists' Facebook page to help her with her launch of her business and share with her customers and her friends and family. So I'm going to have to take this makeup off and do it again at 4:00. How long does it take you to do a color match? Hey, Nancy. So Nancy, typically it takes me no more than 24 hours. So what will determine how quickly I can get back to you is the quality of the selfie that you send me. So I'm so glad thank you, Nancy, for asking this question. Number one, it needs to be taken indoors, okay? Number two, stand directly facing a window during the daylight, okay? Doesn't need to be sunny. It just needs to be daylight. Stand there, take your picture, send it over to me within the form and within 24 hours. And what I do is I break it all down. I tell you what's in your palette. I build the palette for you. And then post-purchase, this is a good question because a lot of people, worry about, well, am I going to be able to do it? I have an amazing post-purchase email, if I may say so myself, filled with how-to videos, and I am always available. I've had a few of my customers, even just this weekend, say to me, Erin, it's Saturday. I didn't expect you to get back to me. I don't work traditional hours, okay? I'm lucky enough to have a little bit of that flexibility. So chances are you send me a message on Saturday night or Sunday, I'm sending you a message. I'm getting back to you. So, when do you add setting spray? Okay, so you're talking about the setting spray. This is something that I use every single day. I do it as my last step, okay? So I would take my setting spray, I would spray it onto a damp beauty blender, and then bounce it all over your face, okay? That's when I would use the setting spray. I don't go without this, guys. SEINT cream makeup does not dry down, which is a good thing, but it also doesn't set on its own, okay? So traditional makeup, oftentimes you may or may not use a setting powder or a setting spray right now. With the cream makeup, you do want to use a setting spray. If you have oily skin, I would recommend the SEINT Vanilla Dust Setting Powder because it's so finely milled that you use a very small amount. So for women that have a lot of T-zone oiliness, as an example, you could use that. But yes, that's when I use a setting spray. I will also use the setting spray as a primer, especially when it's really hot. I don't do that on the regular, but in the summer or if I'm traveling where it's really hot and I'm going to be outside a long time, the setting spray can also be used as a primer as well. Great question. Thank you for asking that. I sent you a personal message. Your son is a line mate with one of my daughter's clients. That is a small world, isn't it? It's crazy. You know what? Yeah. Can't wait to buy it in the Netherlands. I can't wait for you to have it in the Netherlands as well. Let me see. How do you clean the perfector sponge? All right. So I just run this over in warm water and just with soap, and run it through with soap. That's how I clean mine. That's a good question. Let me see if there's any other. I think we're at the end of it. All right. Okay, so if you haven't already, comment BR85. I will send you my color match form, the Demi quiz, and the link to the brushes that I use. And ladies, if you don't have this brush, the shape brush, the light application brush that I did my whole face with on this light application side, it's 25% off, but get the silver one. The silver one is the one that's 25% off. Okay? Anyways, have a great Sunday, everybody. Bye.